Hi everyone, here's a very quick revision video for you all, those of you who are doing PSYA 3 A2 level and are studying relationships. Also, this is good for the new spec A level if you are doing attachment. Early experience and adult relationships. In this video, we will understand the effects of early attachment on later romantic relationships. We will identify key theorists such as Freud and John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, and we will understand key research in this area. And we will also have to look at limitations of these theories. Okay, so starting with Freud and John Bowlby's view of early attachment. You should start here with Freud, not with John Bowlby, because Freud is the father of the psychodynamic model in which John Bowlby is forming his theory. So Freud saw the mother-child relationship as the first love relationship. So in essence, Freud is saying that the little child is falling in love with his mother. And it's his first or her first experience of being able to totally bond with another human being. In fact, in some ways, it's the ideal perfect love relationship. However, not everybody has a perfect relationship with their mother, and Freud would argue this is why most of us find relationships can be quite difficult sometimes. John Bowlby followed in this tradition. However, he talked more about a primary caregiver who was not necessarily the biological mother. And what did John Bowlby argue? Well, he argued that a close bond was absolutely necessary between one main caregiver and the child to establish trust. Okay, so let's have a quick look at John Bowlby's internal working model of self, others and the world. Here it is, and I have described here a positive internal working model of the world, where you would see the self as worthy of love, where you would see others as worthy of trust, and the world as a safe place. Of course, this can go the opposite way, where you see the self as not worthy of love, others as not worthy of trust, and the world as not a safe place. If that would happen, you would have a great deal of difficulty forming happy relationships. Here's another way to look at attachment, and really it's a very simple model of how do you know you've got an attachment? Well, if you seek to be near the person, if you see them as a safe haven, secure base, and if you feel distress when you are separated from them, you are attached. So let's just look at Mary Ainsworth's strange situation experiment. This was carried out in 1970, but has been replicated many times all over the world and is a very valid experimental situation in which to test separation anxiety, e.g. when the mother leaves the room, we are going to see how the baby reacts, and we're going to watch the baby when she returns. And we can also have a look at security of attachment to the main caregiver on many levels, e.g. how does a baby interact with the stranger in the room? How does a baby explore the room? All these things indicate security of attachment to the main caregiver. And here we have Mary Ainsworth. It's good to have a quick look at the findings of the strange situation and just to remind ourselves of how this went. Because secure babies, 66% of secure babies were distressed on separation and easily comforted on reunion. So the majority of babies are always found to be secure, and this has been replicated all over the world in many different cultures. And even though there are a lot of cultural differences, we don't need to be too concerned about those here, because when you get a mean score, you always end up with a majority of babies are secure. 22% insecure babies were avoidant. That means they were not concerned on separation when the mother left the room, and they were not responsive at reunion. And 12% overall were insecure resistant. They were very distressed on separation, angry, and not easily comforted on reunion. Let's just have a little break here and a little activity. I put here Mary Ainsworth's 4 attachment categories, including what was known as disorganized attachment. I want you to see if you compare these 4 styles with these behaviours below. So stop the video and see how you go. I presume that you found that relates well with many friends but does not often have lasting romantic relationships is an avoidant person. Relates well with both friends and romantic partners, secure. Relates well with romantic partners a little obsessively, has few close friends, is resistant. Because a resistant person is very obsessed with their relationships and don't have much time for their friends. Relates with difficulty to friends and romantic partners is attachment disorder. Now let's look at Hazen and Shaver 1987 The Love Quiz, and this will give us excellent AO2 or evaluation. This study was seminal. In other words, it was groundbreaking because we've already established that Freud predicts that early attachment to the mother will affect later love relationships, and so does John Bowlby. And Mary Ainsworth has established that she can observe categories of children's behaviour supporting John Bowlby's theory. But how can we link the two? How do we know that this experience links to this experience? Well, Hazen and Shaver's research gave us some very good evidence of this. Here's what they did. They used participants from a newspaper ad and undergraduates, therefore it's got high population validity. They asked all participants to fill in an early attachment inventory, that is, a questionnaire in which they discussed how they had experienced their early attachments, in other words, to their main caregivers. And this is very, very easily done, actually. You might think, well, how could that be very accurate? They can't remember when they were 1 or 2, but we don't ask them to remember then. It's normally we're looking at memories of about 5, 6, 7, 8, because in the end, the same attachment style carries on. Also, participants completed a questionnaire about their feelings and experiences in love relationships. In my next slide, we'll be looking at some of those questions. And finally, early attachment style was correlated with current relationship experience. So we end up with correlation data. So here is Hazen and Shaver's questionnaire. 3 main scenarios that they asked participants to choose which one mostly describes you now. Obviously, participants didn't see secure, anxious, it means resistant, or avoidant, and they were given letters. But I'll just read them out quickly. So, I find it relatively easy to get close to others, and I'm comfortable depending on them and having them depend on me. I don't often worry about being abandoned or about somebody getting too close to me. Obviously, that person is secure. I find that others are reluctant to get as close as I would like. I often worry that my partner doesn't really love me or won't stay with me. I want to merge completely with another person, and this desire sometimes scares people away. A resistant person. I am somewhat uncomfortable being close to others. I find it difficult to trust them completely, difficult to allow myself to depend on them. I am nervous when anyone gets too close, and often love partners want me to be more intimate than I feel comfortable being. Avoidant. Finally, we'll have some conclusions, which are AO2 evaluation points. I'm going to put them plus or minus. Plus, Hazen and Shaver have shown that early attachment style has a long-term effect on adult relationships because their data shows that securely attached infants were more likely to go on to have satisfactory romantic relationships, and insecure infants were more likely to go on to have unsatisfactory love relationships. So, supporting John Bowlby's continuity hypothesis and Freud's theory of the mother as love attachment figure, as the first love attachment figure. Also supporting this is that Hazen and Shaver's research has been successfully replicated by many researchers in many different cultures. Well, that's quite strong support because it shows reliability of their data. However, correlations are fairly low, around 0.3, 0.4. So fairly low coefficients, but nonetheless positive and going in the right direction. Don't forget, however, that correlations are never causal. There may be other factors involved. That's a minus point. A very good point here to make is that many psychologists argue that being in a secure long-term relationship can actually change your original attachment style. Therefore, you may have been in this research, Hazen and Shaver's research, and you may have ticked all the boxes that indicate that you had insecure attachment to your early caregiver, but you are showing up now as having a more satisfactory love life, and that may be because you've had just one good relationship that's made things go better for you, and you feel rather better about yourself, e.g. your internal working model has changed. Peer relationships may also help an insecure child gain security, meaning having one good friendship can actually make all the difference. Of course, an IDA point also for those of you who are doing the A2 level. The theories are deterministic. It seems that some of us are doomed to a lifetime of unhappy relationships because psychodynamic theories are very often deterministic. They are saying that what happened to you as a child will determine and cannot be changed what will happen to you later in life. However, it's not the case. As I've just pointed out, good experience can result in a change to the internal working model, to greater self-esteem and to trust of others. So, I do hope you've all found this helpful. Any comments, please make them below, and I shall hope to post lots more quick revision sessions for you. Okay, good luck for now then.